connect with people that you wouldn't want to know anyway?
Not really, no.
So you're connecting with the people that you want to be connected with.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like if you went to an event and you never met anybody there, who do you want to connect with? It's like you want to connect with the influencers in your niche or your industry, or just the fun people in general too. It's not like you have this, they have to be up the ladder from you, you know, even though that's always, but um, I would say like a big thing of it too is there's always serendipitous relationships, right? There's people you don't know are out there that you're going to connect with. Like for me, someone that I have the utmost respect for that I've recently connected with and got a chance to actually go to Facebook with was a fellow named Chris Farrell.
Chris Farrell.
Farrell. Yeah. And you know, he is a hyper connector. Like he just knows everyone, right? And everybody loves him. And our first connection ever was on Facebook where we were in a mutual group commenting on some stuff and he added me. And then he posted on my Facebook wall and just said, "I think I love you." And it was the funniest thing ever. We went back and forth, just you know, being ridiculous, right? And and then another, just kind of like the next step in a relationship that can kind of bridge the gap between online and offline, um, is a little app called Voxer. I don't know how, do you use
I
Voxer at
use
all?
Voxer. Yeah, I connect with people through Voxer. I don't use it as often as I had been though.
It's a little tool that actually Chris Farrell introduced to me because he, you know, he doesn't really do many phone calls because he's like connected with everybody, and if he takes all these calls, it's like who has time for
It
that,
takes up
right?
his entire life.
Exactly. Yeah, a little app, you know, Voxer that you can just be like, um, you know, hey man, how's it going? And the funny thing is, and it all circles back around, it connects with Facebook, right? So anybody on Facebook that you're friends with is connected with you on Voxer, which gives you another, you know, talking point, and it's a literal talking point. So that's a big step in a relationship is where you go from hey, how's it going to, you know, hey, what's going on? And I take it real casual, but every once in a while, just someone new, I'll just be like, hey, just wanted to connect. I know we're friends on Facebook. You know, how's things going? And it's amazing, you know, just the connections you can build. Like I had a real privilege to be invited out to Facebook just from a mutual friend that works there that I met through Facebook. Yeah, which is, you know, all comes back to that connection. But yeah, a fellow that works there in the HR department just struck up a good connection on Facebook, and I told him I was coming out for an event. And he said, "Hey, come up to Facebook. I'll show you around." So I was able to invite Chris, and you know, and then he was like, "Well, let's bring you know some more people." So he brought his business partner and a fella named Casey Zeman, which you know he's a great YouTube guy. And a couple other, you know, the guy who built Optimized Press, James Dyson, and we all just kind of got this little entourage and went to Facebook, and it was a ton of fun, right? And most of these people, some of them I've never met before except online, and it's just one of those things. You never. I'll put it this way: a lot of people are afraid, right, to connect with people online because they don't know how they're going to take it, right? Like, I'm not going to add Shaun because I don't want him to think that it's weird. You kind of got to get over that first, right? And once you do that and remove that barrier, you can connect with virtually anybody, right, that uses it. Twitter's another good medium too, but I found Facebook to be really hyper personal.
It's much more personal.
Yeah, so you know, people post pictures of you know their trips with their wife or their husband, and you know you can talk about that. That being said, you got to be careful. You don't want to seem like the creepy guy that just memorizes their Facebook profile at it and like, hey, how was trip to Greece or whatever.
Well, with
Um,
Chris Farrell, he talks about his dog, Mr. Stevens. Now that's a good talking point.
that so yeah, if you can anything they put out publicly, I think is safe. A safe bet, and especially people who get it. You know, like me and you, if we meet an event, I can talk about your you know trip somewhere that you posted on Facebook. Whereas, especially people in this industry, if you're in like the real estate niche and you want to connect with a high level real estate guy and you do that, you may want to test the waters a little first. Um, but yeah, so Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, let's get into strategy here. I'm sure you've had to really strategize some of these relationships. What's the craziest story you have?
So I got a couple fun ones. I mean, for me, I don't want to say it's a game because it's not. It's something you really enjoy. So anything you really
But it's
enjoy.
challenging, so it's like a game.
Yeah. So for me, someone I really look up to is Gary Vaynerchuk. I think we all, big fans of Gary, and there's not like an easy way to get a hold of Gary. Besides, you can get his attention, shoot him a tweet or an email or something, but he's a busy guy like anybody else. And he's probably got 1,000 people trying to get a hold of him at any given time. So I kind of said, all right, I'm going to kind of flip it here. I don't necessarily. He's not going to just add me on Facebook. He's not going to just randomly connect with me. So I'm going to do something fun, get his attention. And so I built a little site called thanksgary.com, and the whole premise was, hey, Gary's helped a lot of people in our industry just kind of get motivated, and let's say thanks. So it just had a little tweet button, a little picture of him like this, and it just said thank you for motivating a bunch of lazy people. Like you could leave a Facebook comment and tweet it out and pin it and stuff. But what I decided was I'm not gonna put my name anywhere on it. Like I'm not gonna say bye Sean Vosler or anything like that. I just want it to be organic. So I posted it on Facebook, said, oh, this is kind of a neat site, came across. You can say thanks to Gary for his awesome, contributions. So within like 2 hours, it had like 170 comments on Facebook. And obviously when you post something on a website on a Facebook comment, it posts to your Facebook wall. So it, got a lot of that traction and like hundreds of pins and a bunch of people tweeting it. And I think it was Mary Smith, or Mari Smith, that ended up tweeting it at him and got his attention, right? So within 2 hours, he ended up tweeting, whoever did this, thanks, and linked to the site, right? And then kind of came out that no one really knew who did this, and I'm sitting back like, I think I had some, whiskey or something. I was having fun, just hanging out, watching it all happen. And eventually someone did a who is on the domain name, and just said, hey, I think it was Sean Vosler because your name's attached to the domain name. So eventually he ended up just shooting me a quick message on Facebook like, hey dude, that was really cool. And it was neat. Like it was a fun little social experiment, just how do you give back without just being completely obvious that it intrusive, I guess. So it was fun. And it's funny because a lot of people are like, well, did you get any word from Gary? Did you did he did he promote any of your stuff? It's like, for me, it wasn't necessarily about that. If I run into Gary, we're gonna have something fun to talk about, and it's hard to say down the road. You build up equity, I would say, with people when you do fun stuff like that, right?
So
And
this has nothing attached to it other than relationship equity right now.
yeah. So for me, it's just that, it's relationship equity, and also it's a fun story. It's an interesting thing to share with people, and it's not like I went on and just shared this story with everybody and said, haha, I finally got Gary's attention. It's more like, in times like this, it's fun to share, and if it's and I wrote a blog post about giving back to mentors, and I got to able to tell that story, and so that was fun. It wasn't necessarily a ridiculous like opportunity door opener, though it could be one day. You never know. So and
It could open that door down the road.
yeah. So it's hard to say, and that's why serendipity is a good word to put behind it, I think, because you just never know really where these things lead. And like for instance, Frank Kern is a client and a friend and stuff, but it was through a Facebook group, excuse me, that we were able to connect. And it wasn't like I had a strategy to get him as a client or something, but it did lead to that. And it was just through, and I got to build like his wife's website and a couple landing pages and stuff. But so you never know. And then he sent over a lot of recommendations through his mastermind and stuff, which has been, awesome. So you can be that person in your industry. You can be the connector. You can be the integrator. And I think the next step, after you've started building these connections, is cross connecting, right? So, for instance, if you needed an interview with somebody that I was a friend with, right? Now that we're connected, it's like, hey, can you get me in touch with so and so? It's like, yeah, you become that third peg in the connection, right? And the two people you connect, if they do a lot of business together and stuff, they remember that. They know, like, wow, Sean connected us. I'm glad. So that's kind of the next step is connecting your connections. And then you start building someone who does that really, really well is Lewis Howes. And I think he's probably the master of the third peg connection. He's connected so many people that we know and trust and that do work together now just through his masterminds, right? So he'll bring a room of 20 people together that don't necessarily know each other and get them to know each other, have a fun event, and it's invite only, so he just brings good people. And that's where I met a ton of people. And yeah, so that's the kind of the final. I don't know, maybe there's more steps, I just haven't figured them out yet.
Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to like, share, and comment below. Subscribe to this channel for more interviews, and if you want to go further and be live on the interviews, you can go to mmt.tv/live to find out how. Like on Facebook and follow on Twitter to ask your questions, and be sure to get on the mailing list. Go to mmt.tv to get access to all the things that are not contained in these interviews. All the links are mentioned below, and until next time, break the rules, change the game, and be a rock star.